Now, we're looking at Western defense sources estimate that 450 Russian soldiers have been killed in the first day of the offensive, and now we're entering into the second phase of the fighting. And the fighting has reached Kiev and its suburbs with reports of small arms fire in districts close to the city center. But here, the Russian military strategy is to envelop and to isolate Kiev and to encircle key Ukrainian military positions here in the east. So we're seeing four main lines of axes of advance by the Russian military forces here as they continue their assault. Let's take a look at the north here along the Ukrainian-Belarus border in Hostomel. In Chernihiv, in Hostomel, we've seen an air assault by special Russian airborne soldiers with attack helicopters and being brought in by transport helicopters. That attack was repelled by Ukrainian soldiers, according to the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense. But fighting is still ongoing in and around Kiev, including to the western approaches of the Ukrainian capital. Now, Russian the defense officials say that they have moved their forces and are blocking Kiev from the west. And so you're looking at two main lines of approach from Russia and from Belarus south to Kiev. According to the Ukrainian officials, they believe that the objective here by the Russian military is to capture the capital and then remove the government. And just to give you an idea of just how large of a force that we're looking at here, over 200,000 plus Russian soldiers based in Belarus and all the way down to Crimea. Crimea, very important because that's another main line of assault moving from the southern peninsula that was annexed by the Russian military in 2014 and moving to to encircle the strategic city of Kharkiv, a city of 1 million Ukrainian citizens on the Russian border. So the strategy here is to isolate Kiev, envelop the Ukrainian forces in the east, to move Russian forces from the Black Sea, from the occupied Crimea, and into the north, and to isolate Kiev from multiple positions from at least three different lines of approach here. Now the question is, what will NATO do? The U.S. has sent a total of 6,000 troops to Poland and Germany and Romania, with around 800 more troops being moved from U.S. bases in Europe to Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia, and F-35s also being deployed to the Baltic states. The Baltic states, in particular, in addition to Poland, have a history of Russian aggression and Soviet occupation that they have to deal with. So they're extremely concerned of the precedent that might be set here if the Russian military is able to successfully occupy Kiev or to install a puppet government in Ukraine. So that's another big worry. 7,000 additional U.S. troops are based in Germany. So the U.S. bases in Germany with some additional attack aircraft there. And we have to, of course, look at the Russian enclave of Kaliningrad, where the Russians have hypersonic missiles that are also capable of nuclear war. And so fighting raging all across Ukraine and reaching in Kiev. The Eastern European states that are part of the NATO member alliance, and of course Turkey, also a member of that military alliance, extremely nervous on what might happen given the belief that Vladimir Putin wants to restore historical Russia, what he calls historical Russia, in the face of the collapse of the Soviet Union. And that, of course, that rhetoric coming from Russia's president has Poland and the Baltic states and Romania extremely worried. So there you go, Adnan. The fighting is raging all across. According to experts, they believe the Ukrainian forces are putting up stiff resistance that was unexpected by the Russians.
It's a quick question because something's just come up on Reuters. Ukraine's defense ministry says it's destroyed several ballistic missiles and at least 2 Russian aircraft. So that would be the latest news, because I'd heard of 1 Russian aircraft. I hadn't heard of 2. Have you heard this line before?
The Russian military is definitely losing a lot of hardware because the Ukrainians have this anti-tank guided missiles and shoulder-launched heat-seeking anti-aircraft missiles provided by NATO military.
Okay, so these could well be 2 additional Russian aircraft rather than the ones previously shot down.
And we're going to see more violence in the days ahead.